was reading a comment, actually a post from a friend on Facebook yesterday, and my friend had a near violent altercation with a person, over what seemed really an insignificant opinion or something. I don't know the details. But anyways, he came back with the idea that he really needs to hone in on humility more, and he was basically self-criticizing and self-accusing. I did make a comment under his post, and this is why I'm making the musing. I said that lack of humility isn't the issue here, right? What's really playing out is that an emotional childhood wound is running in the subconscious mind like an app on our phone, right? It runs in the background. And the subconscious mind is like an app running in the background, and you don't even know what processes are going on there. So anyways, I tried to bring his attention to the fact that there is unfulfilled emotional needs that are carried over now into his adult interactions, like this app I was talking about. And it's an undefinable feeling. It's usually a feeling of having been invalidated all of your life, having been diminished, having been put in question, having been gaslit. Your opinions while you were growing up didn't really matter. People didn't give you the attention. They didn't really listen to you. See? And all of this created now this emotional and psychological deficit, and it stunted your inner child at that stage. But now, since then, your physical body has grown up into an adult, but your emotional body has remained behind. It has remained retarded or stunted at that level of emotional neglect, psychological neglect, and sometimes abuse. And you have formed a disparaging view of yourself. You have a very small self-image that has become your identity. And now as the adult person, your ego is going to compensate and pick up the slack, and is going to put a little more effort and a little more force and sometimes a little more aggression behind this need of wanting and needing to be seen and heard, and most of all understood. You want to be acknowledged, for the lack of acknowledgement that you experienced during childhood. So now you still want to be acknowledged, and you should be acknowledged, but since the world and humans are so distracted with their own trauma and avoidant, dismissive behavior, the emotional neglect continues. And so when another person who's not actually responsible for your original trauma wound, when another person is not giving you the attention or validation that you expect, your ego is going to become aggressive, and sometimes you end up in a physical altercation, depending on the force behind the need, behind trying to express your need, to communicate your need to this other person. And when words fail, we tend to raise our voice, we become more aggressive, more offensive, and like I say, sometimes the boundaries are crossed and it becomes even a physical fight. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not humility that you need, it's shadow work that you need. You need to tap into this wound of neglect, emotional neglect, this wound of emotional immaturity, and you have to self-nurture. Once you become aware of this feeling, of this need, you have to self-soothe, self-nurture, and give yourself the validation and the attention and the presence to be with yourself, to affirm yourself, right? To nurture yourself. You basically have to become the parent to your inner child and heal that emotional deficit. Once you do that, and it's going to take time, it's not like a 2-week course and then you're going to be up to par. No, this takes dedication for the rest of your life. You have to make yourself the priority in self-care and self-love. Always validate yourself, always nurture yourself. And as your wounds heal, you will find that pride or humility are not even an issue anymore, because you're leveling out in your emotional and psychological and mental bodies to be a more balanced person. So you don't have to revert to these extremes of pride or humility, practice humility. No, you just have to heal your wounds. You have to understand and acknowledge your wounds and heal them through self-care. So I hope this helps. All right?